Dollar on the ropes. If you look at the DAX, yen volatility is surging, and the euro, well, it's kind of creeping toward breakout territory. Hasn't actually happened yet. Welcome back, everyone. For those of you in the States, I hope that you enjoyed your long weekend. I took a couple of days off, went to the beach, had some beers, had some hot dogs, had some hamburgers, had some ribs, had some crazy stuff. I loved it. Oh, and I had the most outstanding mac and cheese with lobster in it this weekend. Unbelievable. Believe it or not, made by my girlfriend. I actually shouldn't say that in the video. I didn't expect it. It actually was really outstanding. I don't know where she got the recipe from, but it's definitely a keeper, just as she is. Anyway, let's get into it, everyone. Right now, we'll be looking at the euro dollar. And as we could see, I have a 2-hour chart here on the euro. I'm going to flash over to a weekly so we can do some weekly analysis on it. Well, that's actually the 8-hour chart. Where's my weekly analysis? Is that my weekly analysis? Yes. Here's my weekly analysis on the euro dollar as it stands. Look at this bull flag pattern that broke out really perfectly. Really, really nice. Marketplace moved up from 109 up to like 118. Really can't beat that breakout. All right, so where do we stand right now on the week? If we're doing just straight up weekly analysis, I'm going to use 3-bar harmony. Actually, this week's going to open today over here. So if we go 1, 2, 3, the support for the week hold is at 114, say 40. So I'm going to throw a line in over there. So I'm just doing what I call 3-bar harmony. And you look at the lowest price point on the last 3 bars on a weekly to get yourself a level of support. And obviously this high, 118, was it 30, is the resistance point for the week. Now, don't forget that we have tariffs. They got to come back into the spotlight, all right? July 9th, we're going to see if Trump doesn't smash the European Union with very, very high tariffs. Now, the euro has been flirting with 118. We could say that momentum has been building in the cross, the euro-yen cross, which I'm going to get into. However, short-term support has held around 117 or 116.90. The only thing standing in the way of a euro run towards 119 this week is the US-EU tariff news and Fed minutes. So if the Fed comes out and says, yeah, we're probably going to lower rates, Powell wants to keep his job, then we could see a run. So we got a lot of geopolitical stuff in the background, stuff we can't control, especially that US-EU tariff news. So technically, during this week, all right, we have to hold above say 114, say 40. Okay, we have resistance up top at 118 and a half. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to get some specific points. So let me get those points. All right. So as it stands right now, we had resistance at 118. 118.29, 118.30, right? So that's the first piece of wood we got to chop. However, I want to just make a point, okay? 118.13, just slightly below this. Okay, that top occurred on September 24th, 2018. We haven't been in this price point since 2018, okay? So this is an astounding move for the euro dollar is actually recovering. This could be the flip of the switch, or it could be the hold that drives us back down if those tariffs come out where Trump says, no deal, 140% tariffs. Well, that could drive the euro back down to really 112. All right. So because off of the 118.13, okay, it had a natural reaction down to 114.30. It could only recover back up to like 116 on the rally back then, and then it fell to 112, like 14-ish. So we got to pay attention. There's a lot of stuff in history happening here on the euro dollar. So the first point we got to watch it really this week, and you got to come over to my daily videos, which I'll highlight important points. But right now, as it stands right now, the euro dollar is trapped this week between 114, say 40, and 118.39. I don't like to actually call, oh, it's in a bullish move. Every time I think about, and I look back and I go, I shouldn't have really said that. I said, just put the points up and let you guys decide. Obviously, it's been in a bull run the last 3 weeks. So actually, like we'll say 2 weeks. All right. If we look back here, we got 2 weeks of bullish movement. However, 2 weeks of bullish movement does not make, a complete rally. Now, if we can get above 118, say 53, we're going back in time again to the last time that we were, up at like 120. And I actually have to follow that. I mean, I have to look. We were at 121 on July 4th, 2018. 121. So that's going to be the next level of resistance, or actually I could say 120, I'm sorry. Right there. That was the price. 120.93. So here are our resistance points. Okay, here's our support point. Now we'll have minor support points that I can go over. All right, let's just look over at the DAX real quick before we move on to the other currencies. If we're looking at the DAX on the weekly, this is all going to be driven by dollar yen. All right, so if dollar yen cools off, and we'll be getting into that currency in a second, due to, like, say, a Bank of Japan rate hike, we could actually see the dollar index fall, and that would actually put some good upward momentum in the euro dollar. It won't be as strong as the dollar yen potential fall will be, and you got to pay attention to euro yen. So let's move on over to good old sterling dollar. Now, with good old sterling dollar itself, we called this freaking top way before it happened. We said 137.80 was going to be a tough level of resistance for cable to get through. Let me tell you something. I've been buying cable all last week. I hate that freaking currency. It never could sustain a rally. Every time I think it's starting to break out, it fools me. So as it stands right now, this week, main support for cable, 133.60. You say, Tom, we're at like what? 136.38, 133.60 is the level of support. It is what it is. All right. As I said, we had this top right here, 137.79, hasn't been able to break through, starting to consolidate again. I want to get rid of this thing. I got to unlock it. Yes, remove them. So by punching through this 136.11, it's starting to show a little bit of, say, weakness coming in. Again, you got to come on over to the daily videos, and I'll give you better points, because as a weekly, this is the level. Okay, if we can get through 130, say 785-ish, there's resistance coming up in at 139.10. Let's go on over to good old sterling yen. All right, here we go. Sterling yen. Let's go to the weekly. So glad to be back at work, So glad. So glad. All right, so what's going on with this guy? Let's go over to where it is right now. Wow, busy chart here. All right, so on the weekly chart, if I go 1, 2, 3, we got support that's basically still the same, right around 193.23. We could move it up a little bit to like right there, 193.72. The resistance level is look at this resistance, 199.81. Where do we make it up to? 198.81. Wasn't able last week to punch through this. This was an important point. 197, the figure. I'm going to take it out for now because that was for last week. As it stands right now, sterling yen could actually drop to 193. Okay, if dollar yen, catches an offer. In other words, dollar yen starts trading down because of, say, a rate hike or something. But as it stands right now, sterling yen is trapped in between this high point and this support point here. Now, the most important point on this chart really is, I'm going to say, the high bar's close, which it's punched over, on the weekly, but the the following week it turned down against it. So the king said yes, the queen said no. So right now it's kind of in a neutral to slightly bearish tendency. But again, come on over to the dailies. I'll give you daily points on it. Let's go on over to good old US dollar yen. Again, I have to say my analysis was spot on from 2 weeks ago, where it said that the resistance was going to be up in this area. So far, dollar yen hasn't been able to recover this. However, there is support at 142.57. So if I go 1, 2, 3, it's still right there. That's the support. If it turns down from 142.57, it's opening up a path down to this low bar's close, 140.71. Dollar yen is a conundrum, you know. It really is. We don't know if they're going to raise rates. We don't know how if they're going to throw a tariff on the European Union. So there's a lot of wood to chop. But right now it's capped at 148.38. It's support at 142.57. The price right now is right in the middle, and we got the market surrounded. But again, daily videos. Daily videos. All right, let's finish up with good old euro yen. This one has been holding strong, and that's not the one I want. That's euro dollar, which I covered in the beginning. Come over to euro yen. Euro yen on the weekly. Look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks of upward push. All green bars. Okay, this is not the time to get long. All right, it's the time to just pick points. All right, so if I look at euro yen, I'm looking at support right now, 166, 400 points lower than where we're at. So I'm going to put that level up. I'm just using 3-bar harmony, 1, 2, 3. So right there is the support point, 165.83. All right. We got resistance in euro yen. If we're looking at this downward channel, the only time that this thing breaks out is if we can get above 175. Until then, it is in a downward movement with an upward slope. Okay, not saying it can't break. Okay, if we look at this previous peak right here on the weekly, all right, we needed 2 consecutive up closes. We got it. So this really should act as a support. Okay, but the only way it turns to real full bull market is if it can close 2 weeks above this with 2 consecutive higher highs. That's, structure. That's market structure. All right. So we got a lot of areas that we could take trades in during the week, and I'm going to be highlighting those short and long. But euro yen has been the one that's been holding up the best. If you compare it, if you just come on over to good old sterling yen. Look, sterling yen has been up, but it's been consecutive movements. Okay, it's been actually slowly grinding, but it's meeting resistance. All right, so that's what I got for you guys. Make sure if you like what you see, give me a like. Leave some comments. Tell me what you're trading. Also, head over to, there's a link in the description. You can get a free video, get a free ebook guide on how to navigate breakouts better, give you a better chance of scoring on the breakouts. And I look forward to seeing you in the daily videos. So remember, always, as a short-term trader, enjoy the party, but dance near the door. Cheers.